Hi there BookTube, it's Elena here and today it's time for a haul. So today I'm going to be doing a haul. There's quite a few books here, so I'm going to get straight into it. But these books all came from a shopping trip I did with the lovely Kaitlin from channel Kitty G. Whenever she's back in London from university, we try and meet up and go book shopping, and we were really lucky. It was quite a funny day because we only went to 3 bookshops, I think, and all of them were second-hand bookshops. And in the first bookshop, I found like 10 books, and I was very excited. And I was like, yes, that one's for me and that one's for me. And Kaitlin didn't find as many. And then we both found like one. Oh no, I didn't find any in the second one. And Kaitlin found like a couple. And then in the last bookshop, Kaitlin was like, that's for me, that's for me, that's for me. So yeah, it was a bit of a twisty-turny day, but we both came away with far more books than we probably should have done. But these were all on my wish list, so I was very excited. The very first book I want to show you is one that Kaitlin gave me. She had an extra copy. I'm not sure if I'm going to like this, but never turn a book down. And I think we'll read it together. And I'm interested because it's called Tail Chaser's Song by Tad Williams, and Kaitlin has recently read Tad Williams' series she's just started, and she's loving it. And this was his debut novel before that, so it may not be as good. And I thought, well, I'll see if Tad Williams is for me, and who better to sort of read along with than Kaitlin. And yeah, some of you, well, a lot of you I know are very much into cats. Which I don't hate cats. I'm just not a cat lady. I'm more of a dog lady. But this book sounds incredibly strange. It says, weaving through the tall grasses of this world is Tail Chaser, a young ginger tomcat with a good heart and restless spirit. When his friend Hushpad vanishes, Tail Chaser sets out to find her. His journey will take him further than he ever thought possible, from the court of the first walkers through the cities of Ma'an and into the hellish depths of the earth itself, where an unimaginable horror awaits. It sounds interesting. It's a fantasy. It's about cats, and I think it was blurbed that it has as fully a realised habitat as Watership Down, and I love Watership Down, so yeah. We shall see. This may be one that surprises me, who knows? Right, the next books were all ones that I squeed and squealed all over in the first shop. So the first one I picked up is called Those Girls by Chevy Stevens. This is a book that I heard of on someone else's channel, but I can't remember whose, which is really irritating me. But I really love the sound of it. It's about 3 sisters. I think they're living just with their father. I think he has quite a violent temper. One night they run away, the 3 of them, and leave and run away. And then we skip 18 years forward, and one of the sisters has gone missing, and it's all starting to sort of unravel of what's happened in their past. And I just think it sounds really interesting and a good psychological thriller. And I heard good things from whoever it was that read this. So if it was you, let me know, because I want to say thank you, because I now own it and I'm looking forward to reading it myself. Next up, I picked up a book called When Everything Feels Like the Movies by Raziel Reed, and it's inspired by a true story. It's not a massive book, but the back just sounded so enticing I couldn't not pick this up. It says, school is like a film set. There's the crew who make things happen, the extras who fill empty spaces in rows and desks, and the movie stars who everyone wants to tag in their Facebook photos. But flamboyant Jude Rothsay, who lives for Louis Vuittons and celebrity magazines, doesn't fit into any of these categories. Jude is the boy who wants to burn the whole damn set down, but not until he gets Luke Morris to be his date to the Valentine's Day dance. Beautiful, screwed up, queer Jude is a young man determined to blow kisses to bigots and defy a lifetime of neglect through glamour. He'll wear whatever he wants, sleep with whoever he wants, and live his life like he's the star of the show. And I just think this sounds awesome, so I really can't wait to get to this one. Next up is something a little bit out of my comfort zone. I think it's going to be sort of a bit of a horror-y thriller type book. It's called Wake by Elizabeth Knox. This is about a small town in New Zealand that is struck by sudden insanity, apparently. So everyone goes insane, and they obviously must kill each other, I suppose. But there are only 14 survivors, but something else is there and it hasn't finished with them. And yeah, I'm intrigued by this, and it's got some really really good blurbs, so I can't wait to try this out. And Laini Taylor, who wrote Dreams of God and Monsters, said Wake is the creepiest book I've ever loved, gorgeous, horrifying and insanely inventive. So yeah, I'm excited about this one. Next up, I picked up Sunset City by Melissa Ginsberg. This is again quite a short book, but sounds really exciting. It's about a 22-year-old woman. She reconnects with someone from school, a friend, but not long after they reconnect, again, this girl gets bludgeoned to death in a motel room. And looking into what's happened, the friend starts to uncover things to do with strippers and pornography and gangsters, and I just think this sounds like a really interesting read, so I'm looking forward to trying this one out. The next book I'm not going to tell you anything about because it is a sequel and I haven't read the first book and I don't want to read the back, but I know it came out recently. I know I'm going to like the first one, so I thought I'd pick it up while I saw it, and that is The Reaction by Helena Coggan. The first book in this series is called Catalyst, and it's on my shelf to read, so now I've got the first two. I don't know if it's going to be more than two in the series. I'm going to get to this pretty soon, so I'm excited about that. Next book I picked up because Jen Campbell is doing a Jane Eyre read along this month, and I am taking part. I've never read Jane Eyre, so I'm really looking forward to reading it. And I also thought, well, why not take the opportunity to sort of read similar books or retellings, and I've seen this one bandied about quite a bit, and that is Jane Steele by Lindsay Fay. I believe this is sort of the Jane Eyre story, but as if Jane was a serial killer. I think that's correct, and I just think that sounds brilliant. So once I have read Jane Eyre, I'll be moving on to read this one and seeing how I feel about it. If you know me and you've watched my channel for a while, you'll know that I have a soft spot for Nicholas Sparks books. They're not to everyone's taste, but I really like Nicholas Sparks writing, and for about, well, 10 years now I've been pretty obsessed with A Walk to Remember, the film. I love it, and whenever I'm feeling a little bit low, this sounds terrible because it is a tearjerker, but in some ways I find it an uplifting film. I always watch it, so yes, I really love that, and I love The Notebook, and I just love his books, and I know that they're going to be making this into a film, so I want to read the story because I like to read the book first. I think this must be a proof copy because I don't think this is what the book actually is going to look like, but it's called See Me by Nicholas Sparks, and apparently this one is about a 28-year-old man called Colin who is just getting his teaching degree, and he's got a bit of a past, as they always do, and then one rain-swept night, he crosses paths with Maria Sanchez. There's obviously some sort of romance. She's a lawyer, and then their pasts come back to haunt them, and they have to, you know, work through it. And I just love his books, so I picked this up as soon as I saw it. The next book I've been seeing on quite a few channels, but the channel that really, you know, took me over the edge on this one was Joss from Scribbles Reads. She says this is brilliant, and so yeah, when I saw it, I was like, I'm having that book. And that is Shelter by Young Jun. I don't like this cover as much as I loved Joss's, but it's the story inside that counts, I suppose. But if it does turn out to be a 5-star read for me, I will be buying a pretty cover, because if you know me, you know I only keep my 5-star reads on my shelf. The rest get donated or passed on to friends. I'm really excited about this one. From what I can gather, it's the story of a young man who is an adult. He has a wife, and he had everything he wanted growing up, but no affection. He lived in a very cold household. His parents weren't very affectionate. Something happens to his parents, who are now in sort of elder age, and something happens to them and they can no longer live on their own, and so they go and live with him, and it's about family and relationships, I believe, and I've heard wonderful things, so I couldn't not pick this one up, and I can't wait to see what I think of it too. Continuing on with the theme of retelling, this one I just put on my wish list and I was so excited when it was on the shelf. That is Eligible by Curtis Sittenfeld. I own Curtis Sittenfeld's book, I think it's called Prep, but this one is a Pride and Prejudice story but set in sort of modern day New York. So I'll read you the blurb. It says, the Bennet sisters have been summoned from New York City. Lizzie and Jane are good daughters. They've come home to suburban Cincinnati to get their mother to stop feeding their father steak as he recovers from heart surgery. With 5 sisters under the same roof, old patterns return fast. Soon enough they are being berated for their single status, and it really is too much to bear. That is, until the Lucas family's barbecue throws them into some way of some eligible single men. Chip Bingley is not only a charming doctor, he's a reality TV star too, but Chip's friend, haughty neurosurgeon Fitzwilliam Darcy, can barely stomach Cincinnati or its inhabitants. As Lizzie is consumed by her father's medical bills, her wayward sisters and cousin Willie trying to stick his tongue down her throat, it isn't only the local chili that will leave a bad aftertaste, but where there are hearts that beat and mothers that push, the mysterious course of love will resolve itself in the most entertaining and unlikely of ways. From the hands of Curtis Sittenfeld, Pride and Prejudice is catapulted into the modern world, singing out with hilarity and truth. And I just think that sounds really good. And having just been converted to Jane Austen's writing, I've loved Pride and Prejudice when I read it. I'm so excited about this one. Just 2 more to go, you'll be pleased to know, and the next one is Black Moon by Kenneth Calhoun. I'm not sure if I've seen this somewhere or read the blurb before, but it just sounds really interesting. It's set in a world where all of a sudden people cannot sleep, and obviously you need sleep to not go insane, and so there is only a certain number of people that seem to be immune to whatever it is that's stopping people from sleep, and our main protagonist, who is called Matt Biggs, is one of those, and I think they're probably a hot commodity for like people wanting to test on them and stuff, and I think it just sounds really, really intriguing. And I believe after 6 days and nights, Biggs wakes to find his wife gone, so she's obviously not someone that can sleep, and he goes in search of her, and I just can't wait to try this one out. The next book is the final book, and I'm so excited to try this one. It's Rush O by Shirley Barrett. Now, this wouldn't normally be something that I would think to pick up. It's historical, it's set in 1908, and it's, from what I've heard, it's very much a sort of character-driven story. But I listened to one of Book Riot's podcasts, and they were talking about this one, and they were talking about how it's very much about the whalers and killer whales and the relationship with the whalers, and I really love anything to do with the sea and anything to do with animals and their nature, and killer whales are like the psychopaths of the sea. They like kill for pleasure, and they're really intelligent, and I just think I'm really interested in that side of it as well, so, and it matches my fingernails, so I'm really excited about getting to this one. So I'm really, me and Kaitlin were saying it was like the day of finding everything that we'd been looking for, and it was such a wonderful day catching up with her, so I'm really excited about these books, if you can't tell, and I look forward to hearing if any of you read these, if they're on anybody else's radar, which ones you think look the best, and let's chat in the comments as always. Bye for now, BookTube.